I'm Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about how to get your ex interested again. Okay, so obviously this is a big subject that a lot of you guys wonder about. You're in a situation where somebody ended the relationship or somebody that you were dating has lost interest. In my experience, behavior is absolutely critical to attraction. And you know what? I think that's great news because a lot of times we internalize why people reject us. We internalize it as I'm not good enough, I'm not attractive enough, people don't like me because I'm a loser, things like that. We say a lot of really cruel, hurtful things to ourselves. In my experience, behavior is a critical component to attraction. And the great news is behavior can be changed. If you learn to implement attractive behaviors and replace behaviors that are maybe smothering or neglectful, it can have a huge impact on your situation. So that's why I'm always teaching you guys about attractive behaviors. The problem is when we most need to do those behaviors, that is often in the time where we're feeling separation anxiety or somebody is backing away and their interest is going down. So we spiral, we get out of control, we lose emotional self-control, we come on too strong, and sometimes we even do things that wind up scaring people. That's why I'm always trying to teach you guys about how to work through your attachment issues. Because when you do, you naturally start to behave in a way that is attractive. And when the difficult moments come, you're able to stay centered. What I've seen time and time again over the years is that some of you guys are great when you first start dating people. You don't have a problem getting dates. You don't have problems meeting people. You don't have problems getting people interested. But the minute you get attached, your attachment issues start to show up and come out. So that's why I'm trying to tell you guys, long-term relationships is going to be about attachment. And if you don't understand what your own attachment issues are and your triggers are and how to soothe yourself, or what your partner's attachment issues are and how to help navigate that particular person, it's going to wind up to a lot of disconnects, weakening of the attraction and the connection, and then a lot of times a breakup. So I've got a good email coaching today that I thought would be helpful because this guy wants to know, what can I do to get her interested in me again? And he works with this woman. So that can make it more complicated in some ways, right? So they say, hey, Craig, I've gotten myself into the most complicated situation you could imagine. Believe me, this is far from the most complicated situation that I could imagine. I could imagine a lot more complicated than this in about 3 seconds, okay? I've seen a lot over the years, guys. This isn't too complicated, but it's going to impact a lot of you going through similar situations. The girl is my partner at work. Some backstory on me. I'm in my mid-20s and I work at a department store. I have a very outgoing, charismatic personality. For the past 10 years, I've been studying charisma, social skills, reading body language, cues, etc. My guess is that he's probably looked at pickup artists and a lot of the pickup artist stuff that is out there. Now, that stuff can be helpful to people that are trying to learn to be more outgoing and meet new people. I know that some people don't like that they don't have any integrity, or some of those guys don't have integrity in their approach. But that has changed a lot over the years from what I've seen here and there. But it's great that this guy's been working on himself and getting to a more confident place. However, in my experience, it may work great in those early phases and stages of dating that I was talking about, but not when you get to long-term attachment, or you really get attached to somebody. Because sometimes we could just get attached to somebody and the idea of them. Like, I remember years ago, I was just devastated over this breakup that I was with this girl for like 4 months or something like that, because I really thought she was going to be my next long-term relationship. I've brought her up here and there over the years. And this is many, many years ago, even before the Applebee's girl. But I didn't understand attachment theory. I didn't understand any of this stuff. And so I was pretty shocked when she wanted to end the relationship. But what I discovered is that she had liked a guy that she had been working with for a long time before me. And then when he found out about me, I guess he started finally showing interest. And they actually wound up getting married. And she's been with that guy ever since, as far as I know. So good for her. But what I learned a lesson there, and that is we can get attached to people quite quickly simply because of how we see them and these beliefs that we have about somebody, right? So her backstory is that she is only 20 years old and an assistant manager at the same place. So there's a big age gap, not huge, but when you get to someone that's like 20, that's very different than somebody that's 25, right? Because when you're 20, you're barely out of high school. You're so early in the adult stages of dating. You don't have a lot of experience. Some of you don't have any experience at 20. He's closer to his later 20s. He's between 25 and 30 without giving it away. And so, her inexperience could be in play in this situation. She had a pretty rough past. Been homeless before, has never been able to stay in one spot due to her family moving around the country all the time, and she was homeschooled. All right, so this poor woman has been through a lot in her life. I had a friend that I was very close with, that we had a really strong connection, and she went through something similar where she had moved something crazy like 12 times over like a 3-year period, all while she was in high school. And, this is a while ago, before social media and stuff like that, where you could keep track with somebody. We only had each other's phone numbers, and she would always change her phone numbers. We're still friends to this day, but had she had a lot more stability, there's a good chance that we could have wound up dating, and who knows what would have happened. But I did see what she went through and how hard that was in her life. Mom kept getting divorced, then remarried, then divorced and remarried. And that had a big toll on her, and not having much stability. So, maybe for her, getting this job was really, in a way, the first time she's had some stability. So I think that could come into play here. She has never been in a relationship, nor had even a first kiss. Okay, remember what I said about being young and inexperienced? This woman is only 20, and she's never even kissed a guy. She's never had a relationship. So we don't know why, though. Could it be because she was, moving all the time? Could she be avoidant? Could it have been because of the home life? We don't have enough info. We had gotten pretty close once we became partners at work. She had a lot of things about her life that she doesn't like to tell others. Like, she doesn't have any friends. Oh, that's awful. I mean, that means her life must have been so turbulent that she couldn't even form friendships. So at the time, I told her I'll be her close friend. Okay, but did you want just friendship? I think you probably did in some ways, but I think you probably wanted more as well. And she seemed to really like that. I started to notice that the more time we had shared together, the more bubblier and happy she seemed to be around me. When I told her that I was single, I noticed a big change in her towards me. So I was super convinced that she was really into me. After being single for a few months, I asked her to hang out, and she seemed to love the idea. She let me pick her up. I also made sure to be respectful and make sure she was comfortable with my advances. She is a super honest person, so I know she would tell me. Okay, so it sounds like he was really thinking about how he was being perceived and how he was treating her. We ended up going for coffee and to an arcade. We had a good conversation about passions, travel hobbies, and even lots of playful thumb wrestling. I wanted to keep the date light and fun, while also mixing in some compliments and touching on the knee, back, and arms to create familiarity. Okay, just remember, she hasn't had any dating experience, so that could have been overwhelming for this particular woman. She had even mentioned how much fun she was having and how comfortable she feels around me. At the end of the date, I said, I really want to kiss you right now. She didn't respond. So I went for it and she said no. So I said, I understand. We hugged and that was it. I should not have went for the kiss so soon, in my opinion. Okay, well, look, she's only 20. I'm not sure how many dates she's been on. We know she's never had a boyfriend before, and we know she's never kissed a guy before. So, you're in a unique situation. Most of the people in the dating world have had dating experience and kissed people, been intimate with other people, had relationships. So, we're in a very unique situation where she's had almost no experience, as far as we know. And he's beating himself up. And I don't think you need to beat yourself up. You went to kiss her, and she said no. Okay, so maybe she just wasn't ready yet. I wouldn't have made a big deal of it. I would have just, kind of left that alone. I wouldn't have addressed it. I would have continued to build rapport at work and then invited her to hang out again and see how it went again. See if she warmed up a little bit more. Maybe she would bring up, I really enjoyed our date, or I really enjoyed hanging out, but I just wasn't ready for a kiss yet. But I don't think she was that upset, if at all, that you tried to kiss her, right? I mean, if you invite a woman out, I think she expects you to be romantically interested, right? I mean, it sounds like you were trying to make it slowly clear with your behavior. This is probably where things went wrong. I proceeded to text her 4 hours after the date, basically apologizing that I made her feel uncomfortable and that I was interested in her in that way, and that if she wasn't, I would back off. Yeah. Okay. So now it seems like this is becoming a big deal, a big issue, and it makes it feel uncomfortable. I don't think she probably would have been too bothered by it. In fact, maybe she would have thought, oh, wow, he really likes me. Maybe he'll ask me out again. But, if you take a woman out, I don't recommend you texting them that night. I'd give it at least a couple days before you text them again, unless they reach out, of course. But you want people to have some time to process and think about it and build up the anticipation of hearing from you again. I felt the need to do this because we work together. I see what you're thinking there. You're probably afraid, oh, what if I get in trouble at work? We're co-workers. But look, you were hanging out outside of work. You were talking outside of work. I don't think she would have tried to get you in trouble if that's what you were worried about. She said she is not interested in me. Well, I think it was like your interest level was projecting high, and it probably overwhelmed her, and she wasn't there yet. So it's like when you project this high interest level, it can overwhelm and scare someone and be like, yeah, I'm not interested. Whereas if you had been more relaxed and just let it play out and, maybe it invited her out, 5 or 6 days later to hang out again, she would have been more comfortable with hanging out and maybe even the idea of, getting to know you in a romantic way. But it's almost like you're a salesman, okay? If somebody comes to your house to sell you something, you first of all, it feels like pressure. If they try and sell you something after 30 seconds at your door, you're not going to be interested unless it's like Girl Scout cookies and you're like, "Oh, how much are they?" Right? But you know what I mean? Like if somebody's trying to sell you on pressure washing or something like that, you're going to want to hear the info first before you decide. But if you're like, "Hey, are you interested in that pressure washing?" After, a little bit of time, you're going to be like, "Hang on, what? No, I don't think I'm interested in this." So you got to kind of slow things down and allow things to warm up, especially with somebody who has very little dating experience here. Okay, a little bit more. She said she is not interested in me. She was fine with still staying friends and keeping me in her life. Afterwards, things at work were pretty normal. Our conversations are normal, and there's almost no awkwardness, probably due to us being so close already. She just doesn't go for hugs like she used to or go out of the way to talk to me anymore. Well, she's probably protecting herself, backing off a little bit, wants to make sure you're not freaking out, that you're not going to make a big deal at work, that you maybe cause some stress at work. Like I was mentioning earlier, she's had a lot of instability in her life. Maybe this job and getting, a leadership position is something that's important to her, that she feels good about, and she doesn't want to risk it. And so that could be part of what's going on with her. My question is, how can I get her interested in me or interested again? I have other options that I can use to make her jealous if needed. No, I wouldn't do anything to make this woman jealous. I think we have somebody that's really inexperienced, and all the factors that we talked about, there's no reason to bring somebody else into this. You like her, you're trying to get to know her, and so I think you simply need to slow this down. She doesn't have a forward personality, so I will have to initiate. That's a story you're telling yourself. She could initiate if her interest builds up, but it's going to take some time. Don't pressure. Don't push. Should I make any personal contact to her? Ask to hang out? How should I behave? Side note, and this is important, I'm already planning on leaving the company in a few months, and she knew this prior to the date. Okay, so look, right now she's probably a little bit freaked out, probably more about the conversation than you actually trying to kiss her and the date that you had. It just made things awkward. Right now, she's probably backing off just to make sure you don't freak out, because a lot of people do. A lot of people get angry and hurt and treat people badly, lash out, and so she's probably making sure you're not going to do anything like that, which obviously I would stay very calm and relaxed. When she comes over, I would be friendly, but I wouldn't be as friendly as I was before. Don't be so eager. Be relaxed, be calm, be fun, but not like before. Dial it down a little bit. Make sure that she starts to take it more from, work friends to a little bit more like she was doing earlier. Make sure that it's not just we're in management positions together, that we have to deal with each other, and that it's beyond that. Just look to see if she comes around you more, looks for excuses to talk to you, warms up at all, and if anything, she knows you're leaving the company. If you see that her behavior is getting a little bit friendlier and she's not being cold or anything like that, I might say something to her like, look, I'm going to be leaving in another couple weeks, and I just want to let you know I had a great time hanging out and really getting to know you. So, I'm going to be leaving, but I'd still love to take you out and hang out. You got my number. If you want to get together, just give me a call. And leave it at that. See what she does. Maybe the pressure of not working together will change things. Maybe, and if she sees that you're not pressuring her, the idea of going on dates might not feel like a drastic leap. You don't want to make it seem like you're trying to get into a relationship, more so that you just want to take her out, you had fun hanging out, and you'd like to do that again. And see what she says. I wouldn't be surprised if her interest level went back up. I think she really started to like you. I think it was probably foreign to her to have a connection like she did with you. And that experience was probably a bit overwhelming, especially because of her limited dating experience, and she doesn't have any friends, and she's moved around a lot. So she's had it rough, and she's been through a lot, and she's probably apprehensive to see where this goes. But I think if you stay calm and relaxed and not make such a big deal about things, she could want to see you again outside of work. Okay? But you got to go beyond the outgoing stuff and the skills that you learn in the beginning. This is more about attachment issues coming out, insecurities coming out. And, I think that's what happened when you had made the kiss and she wasn't interested at that time. But it's okay if you go for a kiss and someone's not interested. Sometimes they're just not ready to kiss you on the first date. It doesn't mean that they won't warm up to you and get to that place where they do have romantic feelings for you, okay? All right, so hopefully this one's been helpful to you. Of course, if you want to get my help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. You can get my creative healing course and my workbooks only on my website. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.